Hopefully that's not. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Check. 1, 2. Check. Check, check, check. Check, check. Check. 1, 2. Check. Check, check. We got audio now. Got it. Now we're good, I think. We'll see how long it lasts. What's up, guys? Audio good? All right. I knew we could do it. All right. Yay. I wanted to show you guys what I saw after the earthquake. What's shaking? Something on the East Coast. Hold on just a second, guys. Glad you're here. I wasn't sure if the audio was going to work or not. Looks like it's doing fine. Did you guys see the buoys on the East Coast? Or along the East Coast? Hold on, let me get those buoys on here. Just 1 second, guys. Okie dokers. So sound is still good? All right, thank you. Let me show you what I found with regard to the buoys. Let me go there real quick. There we go. All right, we still good, guys? All right, good deal. Here we go. Did you guys see the buoys go into event mode all the way up off the coast of New Jersey and New York after the 7.7 quake? Look at that. All the way up to New York. It's over 1,000 miles away. Incredible. Trying to zoom in just a little. I want to show you one of these instruments off the coast of Florida. Right out in here. Let it catch up so I can show you guys. All right, here we go. Look at that. Look at the water column height at station 41425. That's incredible. That was right after the earthquake. That's a 50 foot just on the top side. Some sort of an anomaly occurred after the earthquake at that buoy. So, don't know what it was. All I know is that buoy was working just fine prior to the earthquake. After the earthquake, look at that. I'm going to leave it there for just a second. Look at that. That was right after the earthquake. That is humongous. If that were a tsunami, that would be pretty good size. But apparently, it wasn't, I don't think. Nothing's happened yet. But you got to consider that's 300 miles offshore. Unbelievable. Let me get Google Earth on here. There we go. Let's just measure. It's right in this area here. It's about 400 miles offshore. So it would have already arrived if there were a large tsunami by now. But either way, that buoy went into some sort of a weird event mode. And the one north of St. Thomas, showed a small, I don't know, hiccup if you want to call it. It detected what I've seen before in the past with large earthquakes. That I've seen many times. And if you look at the event details in the other buoy down in here, that data shows up numerically. It's not just a graphical error or something. If you look at the data down here, it shows at 2148 it went from 5255, 2149 it went to 5248. So that is a 7 meter 20 foot change. And then there's other areas that show 40 foot variances. So, don't know. Been watching that buoy like a hawk. Been watching the coastlines. We're very, very close along this area. Got some activity up here off the coast of Fire Island, New York. That's small. I mean, see that a lot with regard to large earthquakes. But that's a long way from the epicenter. This was felt at Yellowstone supervolcano. Check this out. Miami buildings shake after powerful earthquake. 7.7 magnitude was reported 77 miles northwest of Jamaica. Right down in there, we know where it was at. But people apparently left buildings in southern Florida. Check this out. Here at the website, if you go to Yellowstone up here at the top, that top column, that's the seismographs at the caldera of the Yellowstone supervolcano. Place is kind of a big deal, but we watch the seismographs around the supervolcano pretty close. Actually, check them every day. Look at that energy go across those graphs. That's from the earthquake. That looks like a large earthquake occurred at the supervolcano. Unbelievable. Wow, and there's the 6.3 that just occurred. You see that? Right down there? That's the energy from the 6.3, actually 6.1. So that earthquake on the seismographs here, they should be, yep, all black. Look at that. These are globally Global seismographs all around the world. That was a big quake. I'm surprised there's not more aftershocks than what there's been. Every single one of them. That one there's at the South Pole. There's been no data for a few hours. I don't know why. Looks like no data since the earthquake. Or just before the earthquake, no data. And that's the South Pole remote observatory. And it's normally on. I've never really seen that one off. Here's another one. Scott Base in Antarctica. Look at that. Antarctica. Incredible. Wow. All black. Look at that. All around the world. So that definitely had 7.7 horsepower. Been watching the coastal communities along Florida. All good right now. I wanted to show you guys something else here real quick, if it will work. Don't forget to check your subscribe button and the notifications tab. Do that real quick. Make sure you're still subscribed and make sure that notifications are still on. And then I'm going to show you guys a program I use. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So, we are going to go back to here. The reason I'm looking up there, guys, I have a monitor up there that it's kind of my overflow monitor. I get a lot of pages open at the same time, and it's helpful. Like right now, it's helpful. I know I'm looking up, but I have an overflow monitor up there that is helpful to me. Here we go. You ready? All right. Can you guys see that? Aha, there it is. That's our little cosmic neighborhood. That's where all of our neighbors are at right now, including us, as I do this video. See that? That's where we are. This is where we hang out. We have some neighbors. We have some big neighbors. And here for the last month, most of our neighbors left town, except Venus came back around and joined us here on the opposite side of the sun. But for about 3 weeks, everybody, even Neptune, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Mars, Mercury, which is coming back around the bend now and joining Venus. That's why you see Venus in the night sky right there. That's Venus in the evening sky. As Earth turns to go to the night side of the sun, you'll see Venus in the evening sky, guys. But anyway, back to what I was telling you. All of the planets, all the gas giants were opposing Earth for over 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And in fact, they still are. But the solar system was way out of balance for well over 2 or 3 weeks. And that has an influence, what I've learned over the years, that has an influence on energy and different things on Earth, and probably not only Earth, but other planets in the solar system as well. But Earth is our, our priority. It's our home. So I've noticed things occur on Earth when the solar system's out of balance like that. And there's Earth. This is a good software program. I've used it for a long time. Long time. So I've gotten familiar with, different aspects of the solar system. I've learned a lot from this software right here. I've learned a lot from here. There's the moon. You got to consider the moon when you're factoring in equations for, the energies around the Earth, things like that. It's called cosmographia. Excellent. You guys will learn a lot from that. What we're looking at now is a webcam at surfline.com where I'm a member. And like, for instance, today, after this big earthquake, I go to these cameras and they're positioned all over the United States, down through the Caribbean, not South America, but Central America, and up into Alaska. And this is a good tool to use, like, say, for instance, after today's big earthquake. I was watching these different cameras looking for potential tsunamis. I look for water anomalies on these I look for water anomalies on these cameras. So that's surfline.com. They're a very useful tool for observing things all around the world. And you can go worldwide with those. I'm not worldwide, but sorry, just responding to a text. I do have the ones all through North America. And after big earthquakes, you can rest assured I'm in the area looking for movement on these cameras. Absolutely. Hold on just a second. There we go. Anybody on here from Southern California? Anybody from Southern California on here? And the reason I ask is this. I'm going to go to the dashboard here real quick, guys, and look at the chat. Anybody from Southern Cal? San Diego, West Woodbine. Okay, cool. San Diego, okay. San Diego, California, Santa Maria. Does anybody know about the weather conditions Sunday morning? La Punta, California, is that close to Calabasas? Was it foggy? San Diego, Santa Clara. Hi, Wendy. Long Beach. Jack, Tommy, Karen, Los Angeles. So it was foggy Sunday morning. Okay, near Riverside. Hello, New York, Athens, Greece. Very foggy. Okay. Is there any way that anybody could send me pictures? Do you have maybe a security camera on your house that goes back to Sunday morning that can show the fog? Send those to reports at MrMBB333.com. Heavy fog in San Diego. Because I saw it on satellite. I don't have the satellite loop up and running right now. But I could see what looked like fog on satellite. And I just wanted to confirm it from a ground perspective, that's all. Foggy all day. Yeah, they think that's what happened. I feel really bad for everybody involved in that. I feel terrible for the families. Kobe, everybody on that helicopter was special. 9 special people perished that day. It's very unfortunate. And Kobe had a wonderful career as a basketball player, and he really showed how to be the best version of yourself. I mean, he went straight into the NBA out of high school, you know? Well, I mean, he was just a fine example of a human being. I thought he was a great basketball player. Very sad. Nine precious people perished that morning. But on the satellite loop that I have, I don't have it up. It did look like it was very, very foggy that morning. So, thank you guys if you can help. Did anybody feel today's earthquake? Anybody feel today's earthquake? Yay, I got my audio fixed. And I gotta be honest, it wasn't the software, it was me. So I accept full responsibility. It was totally me. It was me. Yeah, it was me. I didn't have a certain aspect of the encoder plugged in, so got it fixed now. So did anybody feel the earthquake? I know I asked you once. Yes, I felt it. Valentina. Oh, Valentina. No earthquake in San Diego. There's a buoy offshore New York that apparently felt something. Check it out. We're going to go back to, there's the seismos at the supervolcano. They're still bouncing. Just incredible. Let me go back down here. I'm going to go to Google Earth real quick, guys. I heard there were roads damaged over here in the Cayman Islands. Roads damaged, probably a little bit of structural damage would be my guess. At very minimum, that was a large earthquake. 7.7, just unreal. Right there, that buoy off the coast of New Jersey. Let me go in a little tighter. Yeah, it's off the coast of Jersey. That buoy felt something. All up and down the whole eastern seaboard. 3 buoys felt something related to that quake. Because they were not in that's in event mode. When those buoys are pulsing like that, that's called event mode. When they're red, that means they're not activated. They're not on. Yellow means they're in working order. When they're pulsing yellow, that means they went into event mode for usually a detection of a tsunami. But I've seen them go into event mode before, especially down in the southern Pacific, off the coast of Indonesia. I've seen that over the years because I watch the buoy activity here every day. And these were not doing this prior to the earthquake. That's all I know. So it's a huge coincidence that we now have 3 buoys in event mode at the same time they went into event mode. What I find interesting, though, is these over here are not in event mode in the Western Caribbean. That is very unusual. Just a few miles away. I would think all of these would be in some sort of event mode. That's why I used to really follow these super close. I used to learn, I did learn a lot, following earthquakes and these buoys and the seafloor of planet Earth. And I learned over the years that the seafloor moves up and down. Yeah, I followed patterns all the time. I'll show you the buoy down here, right down here off the coast of southern Indonesia. Those buoys right there, and over here there's a couple, but especially these right here would go into event mode on any given day. Didn't matter if there was an earthquake or not. But they've been pretty steady here recently. I haven't noticed that in quite some time. But to see buoys along the eastern seaboard like that, that's pretty rare. You know, I saw a buoy once here off the coast of New York. Actually, the coast of Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey. I forget which one it was. I think it was this one here off the coast of Long Beach, New Jersey, during Hurricane Sandy. Those of you that live up here in the upper Northeast, you remember Superstorm Sandy. This buoy out here was climbing 30 feet. I mean, it went practically vertical in less than 30-40 minutes from Superstorm Sandy. Just unbelievable. This buoy right up here, I think it was one of these two, and Superstorm Sandy was back in 2012, and it was the buoy here, I think, closest to the shore. Actually, they both climbed tremendously during the height of Superstorm Sandy, and one of them went nearly, actually it was nearly 40 feet, between 30 and 40 feet. And that's what created all that storm surge into the upper Northeast, into Jersey and New York. And that buoy was accurate. It was definitely accurate. Superstorm Sandy was an incredible event. But you can follow storms. You can follow the strength of these storms if they're near buoys that are giving you accurate data. Been a few aftershocks down here, but for a 7.7, not as many as I thought there would be. Been a 6.1, a 4.9, a 4.7, a couple of 4.4s. Hundreds of earthquakes off the shore of Puerto Rico. Not only offshore, but inland as well. But the majority have been offshore, but there was a 6.1, 6.4 Puerto Rico. What, less than 10 days ago? Now a 7.7. Just amazing. A lot of activity right now. And a lot of that has got to do with planetary position. It's something I've learned over the years, guys. Planetary position. There was a little bit of a swarm starting to brew near Mount Kilauea in Hawaii, but it's since kind of quieted down some. It never got up to the strength or the intensity that's going on in Puerto Rico. Yeah, it's pretty quiet now. Very few, if any. I think it got up to about 100 at one time. There was like 96 in a 7-day period, which was an increase from what it was. It was 0, kind of like it is now. So once the planets get rearranged, what they're used to, the quakes will slow back down. Start off as swarms, have a big quake, have some aftershocks, and then things will kind of get back to normal, status quo. You know what I mean? But there's always been earthquakes. There's always going to be earthquakes. That's never going to change. Just amazed at the strength that went across these seismos in Yellowstone. Unbelievable. And they even picked up the 6.1 or 6.3. Now these up here at the top, above the 7.7, that's activity at Yellowstone itself. Small quakes. Some of the activity you see on here is what's known as magma intrusion, which you're going to expect that. I mean, after all, it's a super volcano, so it's going to have movement. There's the 7.7 on this graph here, which is on the northeastern or northwestern side of the caldera. The red you see right here, that is a separate quake. A lot of activity there. A lot of activity. But the majority of the large activities from the 7.7. Thank you, guys. We're looking off of the coast of Melbourne Beach right there. And all looks good. And that buoy that we were looking at earlier is right out there, 400 miles away from Melbourne Beach. So right now, things are looking pretty good. In fact, we'll go back to it. Right there's the ocean. There's the buoy. Looks good. I do that all the time. Cross-reference, you know, what we see in the digital world in the real world, you know. You could definitely see a tsunami coming on one of these cameras, that's for sure. But these cameras are all around the coast of the U.S., down in the Caribbean. And I've used these for a long time as well. Followed hurricanes. Good source of information. You guys would like it. You know, one place I've never seen, even during large hurricane events that come roaring up into the Gulf of Mexico, I've never seen, I'm not saying there hasn't been, but I've never seen a buoy in event mode in the Gulf of Mexico. Never seen that. Not even during Irma, and not even during the event when all of the water drained out of Tampa Bay. Do you guys remember that? When Irma came through, Tampa Bay went dry. Up in the Panhandle region of Florida, there were several areas. Navarre, Florida. I want to say Pensacola. In these sounds up here, the water vanished, disappeared. But the buoy, especially in Tampa Bay, should have reacted to that. And it didn't. I was very surprised. But I saw water disappear down in the Bahamas for miles as far as you could see. People were out walking on the ocean floor. And it was 2016, 2017. I understand we had a lot of hurricanes in 2017, but we also had a lot of water anomalies in 2016 and 2017. That's why I reported on water anomalies so often back then, is because I had people from around the world sending me information about water anomalies along coastal areas. Had a lot from Florida. I had them from South America, down in the southern Caribbean. I had them from Central America, Mexico, Florida, the Carolinas, the United Kingdom, Ireland. I had water anomalies from all around the world, and then they stopped. Because I've had people ask me, you know, why did you stop doing, you know, the water anomaly reports? Because I didn't have any to report on. That's I remember right in here, there was a huge water anomaly off the coast of Belize. Water disappeared for as far as the people could see that lived there. And that was back in 2016, I think, or 2017. And it was something that they had never seen before. Down around Trinidad, Tobago, all through here, all kinds of strange water anomalies. Talked to a boat captain that navigated boats and ships down in through the southern Caribbean all of his adult life, and he noticed some new currents, some new ocean currents in the Caribbean that he had never seen before and never experienced before, navigating boats and ships through this large body of water. He noticed water moving in different directions on days that were not windy, where the water was not being influenced by wind. But we haven't seen those water anomalies, or at least I haven't seen them, in probably a couple of years. I think there was one here, a small one, a few days ago in Navarre, Florida, right in this area here. Our friend Brian lives in Navarre. He noticed the water was quite a ways out, much normal than what is considered low tide. I mean, when you can walk way out onto the ocean floor for a mile, then, you know, I know in some places that's not uncommon. That is something I learned following water anomalies around the world. I know that it's influenced by the full moon and new moons and different things. Learned quite a bit about it. Some of them were just simply unexplainable. They found a ancient Roman aqueduct off the coast of Portugal. Up in here, water anomalies. Off the coast of the United Kingdom, they found an ancient forest with petrified trees that they didn't even know was there because the water had disappeared to what was an anomalous event. People had never seen anything like that. So for whatever reasons, those have slowed down. So if you guys see water anomalies, if you're in coastal areas, if you can take a picture of it and send it in, that'd be great. That's something that we find very fascinating here. We're sky oriented. We love the sky and sky phenomena. I've been a sky guy for years. I had somebody ask me, I think it was last week, if I'd ever taken pictures of the sky. If you only knew how many pictures I've taken of the sky. Oh, I have taken more pictures of the sky than you can imagine. I'll just leave it at that. I have tried every possible technique with regard to using recording devices, mylar film, welding shield glasses, sunglasses, multiple welding glasses stacked on top of each other, H-alpha filters in regards to recording the sun. On sunny days, you never want to look directly at the sun without eye protection. But when you're recording the sun, especially with these smartphones and stuff like that, that light is going to play tricks. Even with welding glass and mylar film and things like that, I have tried all of those things multiple times. Every possible technique that someone in the general public could do, and I've never been able to come up with anything concrete, but yeah, I've tried a lot of different techniques with regards to taking photographs of the sun, the moon, stars, planets, clouds, you name it, guys. I am a sky guy. Absolutely. So, to answer your question, yes, I've taken thousands of pictures of the sky. Literally, thousands. Yep. Something I enjoy. But, as far as going out and snapping a picture of a second sun with a smartphone, I've never done that. I mean, I know sometimes it looks like it, but I think there's a second sun, of course. I think all stars are binary stars. I really do. I think it's hard for a star not to have a companion, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? I think that's just how it all works. But I think in a lot of cases, from a viewpoint on a planet, you may never see the second sun. It may take complicated math and it could be so far away we never see it. I don't think it's just like right in our backyard. It could be. I don't know. I don't have the answers to that, but I do think we have a binary twin. Absolutely. Of course we do. Can we go out and see it? I don't know. I can't say that I've ever seen it, but I've taken thousands of pictures of the sky. I sure have tried. But I think all stars are dual. I don't think singularity can be created without duality, There are dual stars. They're all companions. They all have a companion somewhere. But I found this very interesting, guys. These three buoys here, that tells us something. It may not necessarily be about the water. That may tell us something about the sea floor. That's part of the tectonic plate. You see what I mean? There's movement in this area on the sea floor. There's no tsunami. This will be in event mode. These three that actually did trigger and go into event mode, they'll stay like that for 24 hours, and then they'll go back to normal, like these other yellow ones. But what that tells us, what we can learn from those three instruments right there, is more than likely the sea floor changed to some degree in those places right there. That's one thing I've learned over the years about these buoys. It's not always about the waves and the water height. Sometimes the sea floor will change and it will make the buoy react into a event mode. So no tsunami, which I am very surprised. I'm very glad to see that. Very glad to see that. But I'm also very surprised. That is a big old boy. 7.7. So yeah, I've been keeping an eye on this, guys, for the last couple of hours ever since that big quake. But I wasn't surprised when it happened. It happened a little early. I thought it wouldn't occur until the first week of February. Starting to get dark on the East Coast. So yeah, I was expecting one, but I wasn't expecting it until first week of February, so 2 or 3 days early. There's Old Faithful. Wait a minute. Yeah. Old Faithful stayed calm during the big quake. That's Old Faithful's seismo. Now all the other ones showed some sort of activity. Moose Creek doesn't look like that one's functioning. Sometimes these don't work properly. They're machines. They're going to have downtime. All machines do at one point or another. They have to have maintenance or something. That's just the part of working with machines, you know. They do have errors from time to time. This one looks like it's working, but doesn't look like I don't know, it doesn't look like it's working right, but and it's just like the seismos that we use every day here. Some of these are data's not available. I don't know if the instrument is just not online or if it's not working, and that's not uncommon to see that at all. These will stay black like that for better part of 24 hours, and then that black will start to fade off. That is if we don't have another earthquake. If we have another earthquake that size, then it will stay black for quite some time, at least more than 24 hours. But buildings shook in Miami. Let's see how far away that was. The epicenter from Miami, what was that? 500 miles, I would say. Just 400 miles. Let's take a look, see here. 450 miles away. So that's not really too surprising, to be honest. A 7.7 earthquake was felt 450 miles away. I believe that. Absolutely. It was probably felt in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, South Carolina. Wouldn't be surprised if it was felt in Tennessee, Texas. Wouldn't surprise me at all. The entire Caribbean shook today. And luckily, there was no tsunami. So that's a good deal. Thank you, MOG. That was very kind. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I've been doing this for a long time. A long time. It's something I've grown to love, man. Yep. The mechanics of a planet. And then you go to mechanics of a solar system. It's just infinite learning. You never run out of things to learn. You can't learn it all in a lifetime. It's just not possible. Look at there, quite a bit of activity. I'm looking at earthquakes right now. This is just today. Quite a bit of activity just today. Just had a 6.7, what, 3 days ago over in Turkey. And it was kind of in a remote area. And from what I understand, it did quite a bit of damage. So I'd be surprised if this quake here, the 7.7, we probably just haven't heard any reports yet. Hopefully nobody was injured. I don't like to see that. But I would say that there was at least some buildings probably that had at least minor cracks. If there were roads that were cracked in the Cayman Islands, I would say buildings probably took on a little damage. I think it would be hard not to during an event that large. I mean, that's a strong earthquake. Real strong. So there was probably some structural damage in Jamaica, probably over in the Caymans, quite possibly Cuba is fairly close to Cuba. But how no tsunami came out of there, I'll never know. That's quite amazing. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy. Wow. But I'm glad it didn't happen. But you can tell by looking at the buoys, something adjusted. Looks like on the North American plate. There's the data that I was showing you earlier. That buoy was showing us something right there. Those are in 15-minute increments. A view from the edge. Fight Fan X. Thank you guys. Go back to the home page here. I guess, yeah, we're still on the buoys. What happened to my home page? All right. Oh, here we go. There it is. All right. So no tsunami. Good deal. We don't like tsunamis. All right, guys. Well, everything's looking good for now, but we are still definitely on alert. After that large quake, there's going to be aftershocks. It's just not a question of if, it's just a question of how big. There's already been a 6.1 aftershock, and it looks like they're moving towards the west. So that's probably some sort of a slip fault, I guess. Got the movement going towards the left. That would be towards the west. In fact, yeah, if you factor in everything that's gone on over in Puerto Rico, I don't know. Looks like it possibly is trending to the west. But we're going to keep a close eye on it. We're watching the buoys super close. Well, thank you guys for stopping by. Quite a few people here today. Thanks for stopping in, guys. I did not feel the earthquake here in Arizona. No. I felt an earthquake here once. There was I'll show you where, and I can actually tell you when I remember it. There was an earthquake, a 7.2, right over here off the California Baja, back in 2010, and I'm about 400 miles away from the coast, so the epicenter was much like here, 400 miles. Miami is 450 miles from the epicenter of this quake. I was 400 miles from the epicenter of a slightly weaker earthquake it was a 7.2, but the lights, the vertical blinds at our house were swaying back and forth. Water was splashing out of people's swimming pools 400 miles away, which the quake occurred right over here, and that's what was happening 400 miles away over in the Phoenix area. So here, a 7.7. I can assure you, swimming pools in Cuba, Jamaica, water was splashing out of swimming pools quite easily. Probably in southern Florida and the Florida Keys. Because that was a 7.7, just simple math, 450 miles away, so that would equate to about a 7.2, 400 miles away, or something relatively close. So yeah, lights were probably shaking back and forth. That article there told us that a building was shaking in Miami. Not surprised at all. In fact, buildings were evacuated, according to this article from NBCMiami.com. Some buildings in the Brickell area are currently being evacuated at this time. No reports of injuries and no road closures. That's good. And they were saying that the buildings were shaking, and they saw the blinds. There you go. There's a part right there. We saw the blinds shaking. And what that is, those vertical blinds, they'll start dancing back and forth real fast, especially during that primary wave. There's two waves to the earthquake, the primary wave and the secondary wave. And when that primary wave comes through, that's when the blinds start dancing real fast. And if you have any lights suspended from your ceiling, they'll start swaying back and forth. That's a weird feeling. So that's the closest I'd ever been to a significant earthquake. 2010, a 7.2. Alright guys, well don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you're still subscribed if you're a subscriber. If you're a new viewer, by all means, subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the website, MrMBB333.com. It's full of good information I think you guys will enjoy. And it's educational. You can learn some things here if you want, if you're interested in the earth and space and weather. One thing I've learned a lot over the years is hurricane. I was in 3, actually, well, 4 technically, but 3 right smack dab in the middle of 3 hurricanes. And ever since that moment in my life, I had, I had to learn about hurricanes. So I went on a learning spree about hurricanes. So I like to follow hurricanes and I don't know. It's just something that I do. Follow a lot of things around the earth, and I put a lot of the things that I've done over the years and that I still do. These are just part of the things that I do right here at the website. You can bookmark that if you want to. Check it out every day. We'll look at the Schumann real quick. That's the resonance, the vibration of our planet. And every planet has a different frequency, a different vibration. Today, Earth's is looking pretty normal. When you see these spikes, these big white areas, that means that the resonance of Earth was heightened for whatever reasons. Sometimes the sun does it. A lot of times it's something, that we may not even know where the energy came from. But the Earth felt it, and the Earth communicates with a lot of things out in our solar system. Like I showed you earlier with regard to the planets, Right now things are, they're in a pretty good place. We're balanced out pretty good, at least for right now, Yeah, we had a big earthquake today, but the Schumann resonance is in a good spot, at least in the normal range. But for unknown reasons, sometimes it'll spike up into a 40 and 50 degree range, and the normal range is 7.83. So don't forget to check out the website, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which I think I have. right there. Check the subscribe button, make sure you're still subscribed, and click on the notifications tab. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate everybody stopping by, and we're watching the earthquakes and the buoys like a hawk. Be safe out there, guys.